You've been waiting to conceive. You see cervical mucus. Your libido is there. You think, okay, maybe we're back online. Maybe we're ready to go. But then months go by and nothing. Here's what nobody explains. Those signs are real, but they're just not telling you exactly what you think they are. For me, about 2 years into breastfeeding, and then about 4 to 6 months before my period actually returned, I started to see cervical mucus and my libido return. I was convinced we were close. We were not close. And then after my period finally came back, it was still several excruciating months before I was actually able to conceive. So what were all those signs actually telling me? Here's the thing. Your fertility doesn't come back all as one thing. It comes back in pieces. And each sign you notice is coming from a different hormone. So each one is telling you something different about where you are. While you're breastfeeding, prolactin is high. That is the hormone that drives milk production, but it also suppresses the brain signal that triggers ovulation, which is GnRH. So as long as prolactin is elevated, your brain isn't consistently telling your ovaries to complete a cycle. As breastfeeding changes, longer stretches, fewer night feeds, solids starting, prolactin starts to drop, and that signal to your brain starts to come back online. But it's not necessarily cleanly or all at once. So when my cervical mucus came back, I was genuinely excited. After months of nothing, it felt like my body was waking up. And it was. But what it actually tells you is just that estrogen is rising. Your body is moving towards ovulation. I had that for months and no period followed it, not for a while. It was a real signal. Things were changing, but it wasn't the signal I thought it was. Then the libido came back. That's also from estrogen. So again, something real is happening. Your body is shifting, but it's not quite there yet. Another sign is ovulation cramping, or Mittelschmerz, which is my new favorite word. It's closer to the actual event of fertility returning. That is tied to the follicle releasing an egg. But even then, postpartum cycles can be incomplete. You can ovulate, but then you don't produce enough or sustain enough progesterone to actually support a stable cycle. So even that signal, ovulation cramping, doesn't mean you're fully fertile. Like I said, your cycle doesn't come back as a switch. Estrogen rises. Your brain starts signaling. Ovulation may or may not happen. And if it does, progesterone might not even be sufficient to sustain the back end of the cycle. So that's why I saw all those signs and still waited for months. My body was trying, it just wasn't completing the loop yet. And those several months were so confusing for me. I actually started using a hormone tracker called the Mira Analyzer, which is a fancy machine. So you can buy these OPK strips, and they will tell you, you pee on them, and they'll tell you if you have the ovulation hormone in your body. So with the Mira Analyzer, you pee on a stick or a couple of sticks, and it gives you a full picture of your hormones: estrogen, progesterone, luteinizing hormone, FSH. And you're able to see what your hormones are doing month to month. In those early days, when I first got the mucus and the libido back, I could see that LH was spiking every month. And that made me think that I was ovulating. But then when ovulation actually happened, I would see the LH rising and I would think, all right, it's coming, I'm ovulating. But I wasn't. No period followed. So when I actually finally had a real ovulatory cycle, I was shocked to see the new graph, which was a gigantic spike of LH. I was like, oh, that's what an actual spike looks like. The earlier one didn't even come close. So here's the framework I wish I had at the beginning. These things come back in stages. Stage 1, cervical mucus returns, libido shifts. That's estrogen rising. Your body's moving towards ovulation, but it's not the finish line. Stage 2, you have signs of ovulation. You have a true LH spike. Mittelschmerz, you also have the temperature shift. Your body runs a little hotter during ovulation. So your body is then attempting to complete a cycle. It's further along, but it's still not guaranteed that you're fertile. So then there's stage 3, which is the luteal phase. You need a consistent luteal phase that's 10 to 14 days from ovulation to when your period starts. That's progesterone holding. That's your cycle actually functioning. A lot of women I talk to, and my own experience, we were in stage 1 when we thought we were in stage 3. The signs are real. They're telling you where you are, not exactly that you've arrived. So once I understood where I was, I could see that my luteal phase was short. And that's why I had a long stretch of months before I was actually able to conceive. I started digging into how I could support and lengthen the luteal phase. And that's what I dig into in the next video, so hit subscribe so you don't miss it.